I really want that cookie, but I can't have it if I want to lose weight. I love toast, but I can't have it if I want to lose weight. I love going out with my family and having pizza on Friday, but I can't do that because I need to lose weight. I've lost 130 pounds, which is great. I'm really proud of myself. But somewhere along the journey, I lost myself. I lost pieces of my personality in order to lose the weight. And I've been realizing lately it wasn't worth it. Shutting down pieces of myself in order to get results, I feel like I'm missing pieces of myself. Before I go into that, I'm gonna give a little bit about the diet pieces that I shut down before I found what worked, just so that everything makes sense. Most of my life, I was overweight and I spent years trying to lose weight. Everything I did, I gave up things that I loved in order to get the results. I loved bread. I gave it up. I thought that that would help me get results. I loved treats. I gave them up. I loved breakfast. I started skipping meals because I thought it would help me lose weight. I gave up so many things because I thought that it would fix everything for me. But in the end, all it did was make it worse, because every time that I gave something up, it made weight loss very complicated, very overwhelming, and it would trigger my emotional eating. And that would just cause me to go on this restrict, then all heck would break loose. It would trigger my emotional eating, and it would end up in me gaining weight. And I went on that cycle until I became morbidly obese, 275 pounds. And then I realized this is not worth, my quality of life is bad. This is not worth giving everything up. And it's not even helping me lose the weight. It's actually making everything worse. So I started to find what worked, something I had never tried before. I chose foods that I liked, and I used portion control to eat a little less, and that worked. And I think what happened is, because I started making my life easier in that area, it was like my brain said, well, you have to find somewhere to punish yourself. And so I started shutting down pieces of my personality, things that I loved, but I associated them with my emotional eating. So like, I loved to read. I loved alternative music. Bush, my favorite band ever. I had every record. I had tons of CDs. I love listening to music. I love playing computer games, playing PlayStation and like video games. And the thing is, when I was using food to cope and I had really bad emotional eating, to numb myself further, I also did those things that I loved. Even though I loved them, I did them when I was emotionally eating. So it was like I started associating that with the things that I loved, and I thought in order to lose the weight and save my life, I had to give up those pieces. I think in the moment I did, but now, you know, after losing the weight and keeping it off for almost 10 years, I started realizing, like, I've talked about my severe anxiety in the past, and I started realizing I think a lot of the anxiety was because I gave up those pieces of myself and I felt like I was missing, if that makes any sense. And so I wanted to make this video and share this with you and ask you watching, if you're losing weight and what's working for you, you know, is working and you can sustain that, that's awesome. But if you're somebody who's come here for help and you are struggling and you can't figure out what's wrong, like why you can't lose the weight, what pieces of yourself are you shutting down in order to lose the weight? Is it making your quality of life awful? Like, is it worth it to give up those things just to get results? Because if you're like me and you love bread and you give it up like I did, are you going to be able to keep that going? If you love it, you won't be able to keep it off. Is it really worth it to give that up? And then if you're an emotional eater, are you going to trigger your emotional eating because you're giving up all these pieces of yourself? Is losing the weight really worth it for you to not have a life that you love? And that's what I had to realize. Like, I balanced out the diet and the loving my food, but then I stopped doing things that I loved. I went to the extremes. I went from being morbidly obese to like 145 pounds, small, lots of loose skin, and I realized, okay, because I'm super small, in order to sustain that, I'm gonna have to keep my calories really low. And that, for me, wasn't sustainable, just like I was overeating wasn't sustainable either, because both ways I was thinking about food all the time. And the whole point of losing weight was to develop a better relationship with food, love what I was eating, but not be obsessed all the time. Because when I was morbidly obese, like all I thought about was food, weight, losing weight, not being a good enough weight. It was all around that all day long. Well, when I go to the extremes and I give up all the things that I love, or I go to the extremes with dieting, all I think about is food and the things that I love. So is that really worth it? No. So I had to learn to form a balance, and I'm starting to bring back the things that I love now, as I realized, whoa, I used to love that and I shut that part of myself down. I gave away all my CDs, all of my books. Now I treat myself to a book here and there. Oh, this book looks really good. I'm allowed to still love reading. It's just that I don't need to engage in emotional eating when I read now, because I'm not numbing myself. I've worked through that piece, and I'm bringing back the part that I gave up, that I thought that I had to, but I didn't. You don't have to lose pieces of yourself. It shouldn't feel like you're missing. It shouldn't feel bad when you're losing weight or living a day in your life. It shouldn't feel, yes, life has its challenges, but it shouldn't be miserable. It shouldn't be like, I really want that cookie, but I can't have it if I want to lose weight. I love toast, but I can't have it if I want to lose weight. It shouldn't be that. I love going out with my family and having pizza on Friday, but I can't do that because I need to lose weight. There is a balance, and that's what I had to learn. Yes, there is one rule to lose weight. You do have to be in a calorie deficit, meaning you need to eat less. But you can do whatever you want within that. You can have a balance of foods, which is what I learned when I took away all the bread and all the treats. It wasn't good. When I ate all the bread and all the treats, it also wasn't good. So I have to be in the middle. I need to portion out my bread and my treats most of the time. Sometimes I let myself just have what I want for a little break, but most of the time I have to be on it and be in the middle. Give myself what I love, but the balance is I have to measure it all out. If you're not balancing out your life, it's gonna feel bad and not sustainable. I know what that's like, and it's miserable. And that's why, Kyle and I bought a record player, and I bought 2 Bush LP vinyl records, and we've been listening to them on repeat because they're so good. It feels like I feel whole again, because those pieces of myself I used to get myself through a lot of bad times, like a lot of the traumatic childhood that I had. It just felt like things were missing. And now I'm feeling like everything's there. I'm learning how to balance my diet, and I still have to be on it all the time, because you don't just lose weight and it's just perfect. I have to remember to stay in the middle, because like when I lost my weight, I was the smallest I'd ever been in my life, but I had a lot of loose skin, and I was a size 10 because I didn't have any shape or any muscle. I just was very skinny, but a lot of loose skin. So I started to put on muscle. With that, my weight fluctuates, and I started to panic, like, but I look smaller, and because I reshaped my body and put on muscle, I'm actually a size 4 now, but I'm a little bit heavier. Like I fluctuate from 145 sometimes to like 160 because of the muscle, depending on where I'm at. But I've learned too small or too big, I can't focus on my life. I focus too much on the food, on the weight, on staying a certain size, and it's not sustainable. Like I could eat 1,200 calories and not lift weights and not do cardio and be very small, but I'm not happy there, and it's not sustainable, because then I don't get to enjoy a variety of foods so much. Like I like doing the cardio and lifting a little bit of weights, and I like the shape that I've got, and being in the middle where I'm at right now, this is the best shape, my favorite shape that I've ever been. I am lean and curvy, and yes, I have some body fat, but I love the curves. Like I've got curves now because I've reshaped my body with the muscle. I do have some muscle, but yes, my high-waisted pants, it does, like, I do also have belly fat. I do have loose skin, but I'm doing the best that I can, and I feel the best here. So If you're struggling, what's your balance? If you love bread, you don't have to fully give it up. You're gonna have to learn how to portion it out to eat a little bit less so that you can be in a calorie deficit and lose weight. But you don't have to give it up if you don't want to. If you don't like it and what you're doing is sustainable, if you love carnivore or keto and it's working for you and you can do it for a long period of time, great. But if you can't, why are you sacrificing the quality of your life, the love for those things in order to lose weight? Because you won't be able to do it for life and you're going to be leading a very miserable one. Kyle and I love going for long walks and we love working out together, building muscle in our little basement gym, our little home gym. When we started losing weight and our whole life when we were struggling, we were afraid of fruit and carbs like bread. We were afraid to eat those things because we thought they would make us gain weight. However, when I am low on carbs, I don't have the energy to go for a long walk. When we don't eat those things, our muscles are flat. We can't build muscle on low carbs. Also, I found when I'm very low on carbs, I can't think properly. The carbs help my brain function. Like carbs, I'm not a doctor, don't listen to me, but carbs actually help with brain function. And so when I'm really low, I'm very foggy and I have a very hard time thinking and making proper decisions around food and everything. So having a balance of carbs but portioning them out not only helps me build muscle, it helps me think properly so that I can make better decisions around my food and not numb myself with food, sit with the hunger when I need to. And that's because I eat a balanced diet to do that. If you want to know the exact portions and meals that I ate to lose the weight, you can buy my weight loss ebook called The First 50. The link's down below and code Nicole will save you 10%. I also have something called an everything bundle where you get all 4 of my books for a cheaper price for buying all 4 at once. And if you use my code, you'll get a double savings. Links down below for that as well. For balance, I often get asked, like, what do you put in your coffee? And I love black coffee, but when I want a treat, I love cappuccino, but they can be pretty calorie dense, so I find the balance, and I like to put this in my coffee. This is HTLT Sup's G Coffee Creamer. It's 3.5 grams of protein, milk protein per scoop, and only 35 calories. And it's mocha latte flavor, so it actually tastes like a cappuccino, but it's got benefits. So I get the benefit of a cappuccino, but it's got protein. It also has nootropics for like clarity, memory, and focus. And I do need those things as I get older because I'm gonna be 41 soon, so that really helps. Code Nicole will save you 15% off if you wanna try this, and the link is also down below. I'm gonna end with what I end with every single video. Weight loss should never be a punishment. You don't have to give up pieces of yourself or shut down parts of your personality in order to lose weight. Find that balance. Find your balance, not someone else's. Find what works for you. Modify things that you see everywhere to fit your own needs. And make yourself have a lovely life. You should love it. It shouldn't feel bad, because if you're not having fun, you're not getting it done. I always say that. If you're not enjoying it, you will not stick to it. So watch this vid for more fun, sustainable weight loss tips, because Sassy and I really are real friends losing weight in the real world. And we have found that balance, but we still every day have to remind ourselves. That's why we have the weight loss should never be a punishment on our fridge, because we have to remind ourselves too. And that is what we're doing in this vid. We love you. Thanks so much for your support. I'm gonna catch you in the next vid, cutie. And are you ready? Because I love karate and I used to do it when I was little. We're gonna be a karate girl.
Whoa. Pretty good.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye. Remember, the friends, that weight loss isn't just about the number on the scale. It's also about here and here. Heart and mindset. Fight through it. You can do it. Don't give up.